This is a Fox News alert.
There's a new report that's saying that the government has been secretly collecting the phone records of Verizon customers since April. Yeah, I knew something was up when I was like, you hang up first. And then my wife's like, no, you hang up first. And then Obama was like, how about we just hang up at the same time?
But is the laugh on us? This is Geraldo Rivera reporting that the embattled president, meeting this weekend with his Chinese counterpart, and already under fire for Benghazi, for an out-of-control IRS, and for an aggressive campaign investigating leaks to the media, is now confronting a brand new dilemma. Does he order another criminal investigation of two more gigantic leaks? One that the government is monitoring Google, Facebook, Apple, and other internet companies and users overseas, and monitoring the phone calls of more than 100 million Verizon users here in the States.
Nobody is listening to your telephone calls. That's not what this program's about. As was indicated, what the intelligence community is doing is looking at phone numbers and durations of calls. They are not looking at people's names, and they're not looking at content.
The president stresses that these previously undisclosed programs are authorized by Congress and fall under the supervision of a secret court. And unlike his other scandals, on these latest controversies at least, the president has received some bipartisan support.
Homegrown terrorism is one of my biggest concerns. It's happening in our own backyard, and I'm glad the NSA is trying to find out what terrorists are up to overseas and inside the country. We don't have anything to worry about. I'm glad the activity is going on, but it is limited to tracking people who are suspected to be terrorists and who they may be talking to.
But other legislators worry that given how the IRS, for example, has perverted its mission and run roughshod over people's rights, that these latest revelations are further proof of an out-of-control federal government.
It calls for a full and open congressional hearing. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? How much has been done, so that we can have a full and complete accounting. Now, someone over in one of the intelligence agencies is thinking, well, McCain's given away all our secrets. Well, shouldn't Americans know if the government is carrying out a practice that could be an invasion of privacy?
Judge Andrew Napolitano, is this a violation? Welcome. Is this a violation of the Fourth Amendment?
It's a profound violation of the Fourth Amendment. Interestingly, Geraldo, and by the way, it's always a pleasure to be with you, no matter where we are or what the time of day or night.
Same here.
It is not a violation of the statute that authorizes it in the Patriot Act, but that statute is a violation of the Fourth Amendment, because the Fourth Amendment was intended to prevent just this: fishing expeditions. The Fourth Amendment was intended to make sure if the government is going after somebody, whether by force or by stealth, there was evidence to justify it. In this case, the government went to a federal judge at the secret FISA court, where it doesn't have to present any probable cause of crime, and just said, give us an open-ended warrant. There has never been a search warrant as broad in scope and as poorly grounded and as intrusive to as many people in American history as this one is.
Why would a federal judge, knowing exactly what you and I know about the Constitution and the limits of the statute, why would a judge allow the federal government such unbridled authority to snoop on so many of us?
In the FISA court, where, of course, no one appears for the person whose calls are going to be scrutinized, it's just a government prosecutor and a couple of FBI agents, the standard of probable cause of crime mandated by the Fourth Amendment in the Constitution is lessened. The standard is, we're conducting an investigation of terrorism. We don't know what's out there, but we need to know what is. That violates the value judgment of the Fourth Amendment. The value judgment of the Fourth Amendment is we have a right to be left alone unless there's evidence, probable cause of crime. The statute, which lets them go to this federal judge, just ignores the Fourth Amendment. And there's nobody to challenge this, because unless you know that they're listening to your calls, and unless they want to use your calls as evidence against you and it's in front of a judge, you're never in a position to challenge it and hence stop them.
Now, to the nuts and bolts of the search itself. First of all, you now have over 100 million suspects, it would seem.
Yes.
Now, they claim that they're not monitoring the substance of the conversation, but rather they are checking numbers against known terrorist numbers. They're looking to see if there's a match between telephone
Here's
numbers.
what the warrant authorizes them to seize, the information they're allowed to collect. The name and address of the caller, the name and address of everybody on the phone call, the telephone number of the caller and everybody on the phone call, and how long they spoke. They have asked us to trust them that they are not going to listen to the calls themselves. Do they have the equipment with which to listen to the calls? Yes. Do you trust them? Do the people watching us now trust them? Does the Constitution trust them? I suggest to you the answer is no to all three of those questions.
Well, I trusted them a lot more until I found out that the IRS was targeting organizations based on their political ideology. What if they don't like my political ideology?
Well, we know they don't like my political ideology, and we know this thing, because it's Fox issued, is Verizon. So this is caught up in that sweep. This type of dragnet, we don't know what's out there, but somewhere in the 113 million subscribers is somebody we're looking for, is exactly what the Fourth Amendment was intended to stop.
I would submit to you, Judge, that of the 113 million people that they are searching, you and I might be high on the list of probable suspects.
Well, but we are not a danger to society. We may be an irritant. We may be an irritant to them.
Yeah, that's for sure. An irritant for sure. Now, is this part of another symptom of flailing around? Is this like the press probe? Is this like the IRS's intrusive behavior? What is this administration doing, or is this symptomatic of something?
I think it's symptomatic of big government, and quite frankly, this started in the Bush administration, not of this magnitude. This is a government, and it seems to be endemic of all government today that thinks it can write any law and regulate any behavior and intrude upon any constitutional guarantee so long as it can get away with it. Is it easier for spies to listen to phone calls without a specific search warrant? Would it be safer in the streets if the police could arrest bad guys on a whim? The answer I suggest to you is yes. But who wants to live in a society like that?
I'm not sure which bothers me worse, the broadness of this effort under the Patriot Act, or whatever it is that they were looking for, if they really know something that ominous as to justify a sweep of this magnitude.
What could be that ominous? A conspiracy amongst 100 million of the 113 million? Come on. This is laziness, and this is avariciousness on the part of spies. This is an unchecked appetite to intrude into the privacy of honest, decent, hardworking Americans on a scale the likes of which we've never seen, and I hope we never see again.
Judge Andrew Napolitano, on that note, thanks, partner.
Pleasure, Geraldo.